I'ma like protect you with my life. But only one way I can do it. You gotta be my wife.
I'm home and watch this stuff.
They say love can turn deadly. One moment you're sharing your vows and dreams, then the next moment you're trapped in a never-ending nightmare. Valentine's Day is a day that should be filled with love, flowers, and candlelit dinners. But on this particular Valentine's Day, it was filled with hate, chaos, and complete destruction. Olivia Jones was a loving wife and devoted mother who was cherished by the whole community. However, on Valentine's Day, her life was tragically cut short, not by some random person she had just met, but by the very person who was supposed to love and protect her own husband. What's up, family? If you don't know me by now, I'm the Mysterious Black Bandit, and welcome to my channel. If you're into tragic events, true crimes, or stories of old school gangsters, you are in the right place. Before we dive into today's story, y'all already know what I need you to do. Hit that like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you will never miss out on any of my videos when I upload. Now, once you've done that, let's jump into this story. In Beaumont, Texas, Olivia grew up in a household of 5 siblings. She was the oldest, so you already know she was the protector of the family that everyone looked up to. Growing up, she had always been a self-driven and innovative person who was very business savvy and was always looking for ways to make money. After years of working for others, she decided to get into the tax business and became very successful at it. By 1999, Olivia reconnected with her childhood sweetheart and they got married and started a family. She was a very loving and devoted mother who adored her children. Despite having her own company, she made sure she spent as much time as possible with them, taking them swimming, camping, and doing all sorts of activities. The way that she grew up, she wanted to make sure they had the total opposite life. She was making good money, so she gave them just about everything they wanted. Now, Olivia's marriage with her childhood lover was already rocky, but not wanting her children to grow up in a broken home, she suffered through it. However, not long after their second daughter was born, their relationship started to crumble. After several years of being with this man, they decided it would be best if they went ahead and divorced. This was very upsetting to her and kind of made her insecure, but she was a very strong and independent woman, so she kept pushing forward and made it work the best she could for her 2 daughters. Now, at first, Olivia was done with this relationship thing and just wanted to focus on herself and the children. But over time, she started to miss that family orientation she once had and realized her children needed a father figure. So she got back out there and started dating again. Around the spring of 2009, Olivia met this man named Christopher Jones, and she absolutely adored him and thought that he was the finest thing walking on this earth. Not only did Christopher have a good job working for the state of Texas as a correctional officer at a high-security prison, but he also treated her like she wanted to be treated. Since she talked about him so much around her friends, everyone was wanting to meet this new man, so after church one Sunday, she invited all her friends and family members over to watch a football game. At first, Chris seemed like a pretty straightforward and easygoing guy, but while sitting at the table with Olivia and her family, her mother offered to go fix him a plate of food. He sits back, crossing his arms, turns to Olivia and says, "Yeah, you go fix me something to eat." This seemed pretty odd to everyone at the time, but they just thought that maybe he was raised a different type of way. However, not long afterwards, they saw the type of man he really was. One time while they were on a date, an old girlfriend of Christopher was out with a few of her friends and saw them together. So they decided they wanted to cause some problems. First, they go over and start talking crazy to Olivia. Then, out of nowhere, the girlfriend and the 2 friends jumped on her. While this was going down, Christopher was just standing there watching and laughing with a few of his friends. The police ended up coming, and guess what this clown did? Instead of checking on his girlfriend to make sure she was all right, he jumped in his car and just left her. Now, with all these cuts and bruises Olivia had on her face and body, her brother and sister-in-law told her that she needed to press charges on these girls who did this to her. But at this time, Chris was already manipulating her. She tells them Chris told her she shouldn't say anything because he worked for the prison and it wouldn't be a good look on him if it got back to his job. Now, Olivia's family kind of had a feeling that Chris was controlling and abusive, but they never truly witnessed it firsthand. However, that changed in May of 2014 at a local park. Olivia and her two daughters and her brother and his family were just out enjoying themselves while the kids played. As the day came to an end, Olivia and the kids got in the vehicle to head home, and out of nowhere, Christopher came speeding around the corner in his truck. He jumped out, ran to her driver's side window, and began punching it as hard as he could while threatening her just because she didn't answer the phone when he called. She was so embarrassed and ashamed after this incident, she distanced herself from the family and disappeared for almost a year. Then, out of nowhere, the next thing they knew, Christopher and Olivia were engaged.
Olivia, I'm gonna protect you with my life. The only one way I can do it. You gotta be my wife.
After finding out that they were engaged to get married, almost everyone warned Olivia not to marry this man. Even her daughters, who witnessed this suffering and pain that their mother was going through, didn't want this marriage to happen. But Olivia insisted that things had improved between them because they were in counseling, and she believed that her daughters felt that way because they didn't want her to move on from their father and be with this other man. By 2016, Olivia and Christopher got married, and her daughters moved in with him. From the outside, everything seemed to be going just fine, but their marriage was far from perfect.
Act like you ain't got no goddamn patience. You want to have a kid? I'll you up by my kid. When I got with your ass, you didn't have a job. You was collecting unemployment. You didn't have to offer you. And most men in this world want a woman that got what? Life would be so much easier for me if you start thinking. You do dumb because you don't think. You wouldn't be doing this if I wouldn't have got upset. You would have bagged it.
Chris was a man that wanted total power over everything, and he would use his manipulative ways to control Olivia. He ran the house like he was the warden of his own penitentiary. The man had every inch of the house full of cameras that had audio and night vision, so anytime Olivia or her daughters wanted to talk on the phone, they would often have to go outside and talk or go in their room and whisper. Every single thing had to be done a certain way and the way that he wanted it done.
Look on the floor. Look on the floor, wife. Look on the floor. Look on the floor. Look on the floor. Look on the mother. Why is that like that? You're not paying attention. Put my goddamn lid back on the mother. You weren't worried about the son of a minute ago. Get out of here. Look at me like that. I'm not playing with you, lazy. You want to do some now that I'm looking? Give it here. You got all the goddamn answers. You don't do a goddamn thing around this mother, right? Then you got the audacity to look at me like I'm stupid. This is the look. The look is what got you up.
Have y'all ever met someone who couldn't control their anger and seemed to thrive off of chaos? Well, this is exactly how Chris was, and that temper he had eventually got him suspended from his job. Something seriously had to be wrong with this man. He would get into with inmates and would even bring the recordings of those home to show his stepdaughter. This was just another one of his scare tactics. By showing her these videos of him brutally beating up an inmate, he was basically saying, if you ever step out of line, this could possibly be you next. Now, with Chris being on leave from his job, he wanted to have a business of his own like his wife. So he convinced Olivia to put up majority of the money to start a food truck. Of course, it was supposed to be both of their businesses, but Chris acted like he was the only owner. While Olivia brought in majority of the customers from her tax business, made sure they had all the permits they needed, bought, prepped, and labeled all the food, Chris just sat back and took all the success as if he did all the work. Olivia just wanted her man to feel successful and know that she would do anything for him. On February 13, 2019, Valentine's Day, Olivia wanted this day to be extra special for her and her man. She goes to the grocery store early that morning to pick up flowers and food for her to cook for him later on. Once she made it back to the house, everything seemed to be going just fine. Chris even helped unpack the groceries she had just bought, but not even 20 minutes later, an altercation broke out and the police were called.
In my bedroom. In the bedroom, broken down on the dresser. Come this way.
Okay.
Please, come this way. This way, this way. Okay. Please. Olivia! Baby!
Sir. Okay. Step back. Step back.
What's up, Mr. Butler?
What happened?
We had a disagreement. And I say, baby, if you're not working with me, you're working against me. I say, we've been doing this. My 19-year-old stepdaughter was 8. My 11-year-old was 1. I said, Olivia, we can't get it together. We can't be together. Okay. We got several weeks. And I say, I just want a divorce. And her reaction was, and I've been saying this for quite some time. And her reaction was, if you don't want me, I'm going to myself. She got the gun. I said, give me the gun. She like, I don't remember which hand. I'm like, give me that gun. What is you doing? Stop trying to scare me. I took it.
So when you grabbed it, it went off?
She yanked. I grabbed it and she yanked back. And the gun went off.
Okay.
The gun went off. Mr. Butler, I gotta help.
No. You don't need to go in there, okay?
Is she alive?
Yeah, she is.
She is.
We got him.
Is she alive, Mr. Butler?
When we went in there,
Please don't tell me she alive. She's not.
Yeah, when I saw her, she was.
She was talking?
She wasn't talking.
Is she breathing?
It looked like she was breathing.
Ooh, good.
Don't go in there,
please.
sir. I need you to stay right here with me, okay? And calm down.
Calm down.
Once the ambulance arrived, Olivia Jones was immediately pronounced dead, and after Chris gave his statement, he was handcuffed and taken in for questioning. Now, Chris had about 10 cameras placed all around the house and inside the house that were supposed to be recording nonstop. But somehow, those crucial moments right before he called the police were missing. If he was telling the truth about Olivia taking her own life, this footage would have proven it. Instead, the cameras mysteriously stopped working at this exact time, which made the investigators even more suspicious of his story. In the interrogation room, detectives had a clue that this wasn't a suicide because of where the bullet hit and the exit wound. So what they had him do was demonstrate how he took the gun from Olivia and also tell the story about how everything went down.
Now go ahead and do my initial. She pulls it. Give me the. Okay. And I go. I'm sorry.
You're good.
No, you're good.
I don't
I'm
want the
sorry.
chair.
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I like the chair, man.
But I'm reliving it.
You are.
I'm reliving it.
So she should be shot in the back of her right head.
Did you feel me twist your? Did you feel me twist?
Switch back here.
Did you feel me twist your?
Pushing
I
on me.
twisted.
Now, the investigators decided to look into Chris's criminal background and discovered that he had been previously arrested several times before. In 1996, he was arrested for assault. Then in 1998, he was arrested again for domestic assault, which landed him in jail for a brief period. This basically showed that he had a pattern for violence. The day after Christopher was arrested, he was charged with the murder of Olivia Jones, but within 24 hours, he bailed out of jail after posting a $150,000 bond. This was the same day the family members were getting ready to lay Olivia to rest. Now, although Chris was placed on house arrest and had to wear an ankle monitor, the judge gave him permission to work. So since his food truck was on his property, he was allowed to open and operate it. This only added fuel to Olivia's family's outrage. They were already fears that he was released on bond, but seeing him reopen the business that Olivia built pushed them over the edge. They took to social media saying, "I don't see how anyone wants to support someone who murdered their own wife on Valentine's Day," and called for a community-wide boycott of this food truck. Now, Chris's lawyers put out his own statement saying anyone calling his client a murderer on social media before he was convicted could be liable for defamation. Fortunately, not even a few days later, the health department shut it down. In early March of 2022, the trial finally began for 43-year-old Christopher Ray Jones. The defense tried to portray Olivia as potentially being unstable at the time of her death. They argued that the struggle that happened between her and Chris happened because he was attempting to prevent her from committing suicide. They claimed that on this day, Chris threatened Olivia with divorce, and this made her so depressed, she took out a loaded handgun and held it to her head. He then said Chris fought to get the gun away from her, and during the scuffle, the gun went off with the bullet striking her in the back of the head. Now, the state refuted all these allegations, calling Christopher a liar, and said that he's a person that likes to be in full control and put on an act for innocence. Also, the surveillance footage of Olivia didn't show any signs that she was suicidal on that day. They also played back 911 calls, showed home security videos, and body cameras.
I need you to be honest about the videos.
I look guilty.
You're
If I
not.
deleted those videos, I look guilty.
Not if you say right now, what did you just say a little while ago? I freaked out, I panicked, I did some stuff I shouldn't have done. Is that one of them?
Yes.
How many did you delete?
I don't know, honestly.
Okay.
I was just afraid of being blamed for something I did do something that looks really bad on me.
Now, Christopher's attorneys initially aimed for a manslaughter charge, which carried a sentence between 2 to 20 years and a fine up to $10,000 for second-degree felony. However, after the jury determined that he had intentionally shot Olivia, the defense chose not to risk a first-degree murder conviction that could have resulted in a sentence of 99 years to life. Following 4 days of testimony and a little more than 6 hours of deliberation, the jury unanimously found Christopher Ray Jones guilty for the murder of Olivia Jones. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison without a right to appeal the case and was sent to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Facility to serve his time. This is yet another example of how control and manipulation can turn deadly. Olivia Jones was young, full of potential, and had her whole life ahead of her, but ended up trapped in a toxic relationship with a man who viewed her as a possession rather than her partner. Listen, I went over this over and over in several of my videos, so I won't go too deep, but y'all need to know these signs. The obvious one is jealousy. I know showing a little bit of jealousy is a sign that a person cares about you, but someone that is constantly accusing you of doing something wrong or always assuming you're cheating when you're not is what I'm talking about. The second one is isolation from your family and friends. A controlling person will try to turn you against everyone just so they can have you to themselves. Next is criticism. Now, it's okay for your mate to criticize you, but you gotta understand there's a difference between constructive criticism and constantly belittling you. If they are always trying to tear you down or make you feel like you aren't enough for them, that's a controlling person. And last but not least, they're always threatening and trying to intimidate you. This is pretty self-explanatory, but anytime you try to leave, they tell you if you leave, you're gonna regret it or no one else is gonna love you the way that I do. This is definitely another way to control you. Ladies, a controlling man doesn't always look or act like a monster first. So make sure when you're just now trying to get to know these men, watch for these red flags. Now, if you or someone you know is dealing with this, please make sure y'all speak up and reach out. It could definitely be the difference between life or death. All right, family, that will be it for this one. As always, I'm thankful for the love and support. And if you want to continue to support this channel, you already know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. And until next time, stay mysterious, my friends.